Hello everyone, welcome to Stampin' Up with Jamie. Thanks so much for joining me live or on replay. Really appreciate it. I'm just gonna get my computer going here so I can follow along with you. And I think I'm gonna move my camera over just a smidge. Let's see if that still works. Okay, good. We're in the right spot. How's everyone doing tonight, this week, this month? Can you believe that Sunday is November? Kind of crazy. I think it is, at least. I feel like October has completely flown by so fast. Hi, Karen and Lori, Terry, Amy. Thanks, everyone, for coming along and joining me tonight. I appreciate it. I have sort of, I don't know, like a simpler card than maybe I would normally do for one of my Facebook Lives. I don't know. I've kind of gone back and forth about embellishing it up differently or adding different embellishments or little things to it. So I'm definitely going to be looking for your input as we go along and start making the card. If you think things could be tweaked or bettered at all, so feel free to start thinking and getting creative with me. The majority of my colors here, let's see if I can pull them quickly. I like to show you my colors with my ink pads because I do. I think it's a better visual. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Okay, these are the colors I'm using. Mint macaron, pumpkin pie, and crumb cake. So keeping with like a traditional warm fall colors with the pumpkin pie, but then with like a more neutral palette with a pop of like, you know, just kind of feminine touch, I guess. I don't know. I think mint macaron is kind of like a feminine color. And then crumb cake with our neutral color. So, oh, and I just realized I never grabbed my Memento Black. Oh, goodness. There we go. So these are my colors I'm working with tonight, and you can see them in my card. Although I'm not actually using any ink pads. Well, those ink pads at least. I'm using Memento Black. More than me today. I think that's a first, Karen. I honestly think that is a first. That's funny. Yes. Okay, so let's just dive in. My card base here is mint macaron, and it is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And I'm rumbling around for my bone folder here because, you know, every week I forget it. You'd think by now I'd have this this down a little bit, but I always forget my bone folder every week. I feel like when I send my half-an-hour alert out to you guys, I need to just be like, bone folder. So this is our card front. I have it scored at 5 1/2 if I didn't say that. Next, I took another panel of mint macaron cardstock. It's the same full size as my card front, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I already went ahead and embossed it with the really beautiful, I love the texture that this adds, the tin tile embossing folder. And as always, our embossing folders are really beautiful because honestly, either side is gorgeous. So this is what I would consider more the negative side. And this would be more like what I would consider the positive side. But depending on the look that you're going for, right? I mean, they both kind of have their unique sort of texture that they add to a card. I'm going to be using what I call the positive side. The impression is coming out into it. And I'm going to adhere that right to my card front. So I don't know if I said at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I already embossed it ahead of time. This is what it looks like. I always feel like these pictures don't quite do it justice. So I'd love to show you the actual texture in the embossing folder because I feel like it gives a better look of it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to add a little bit more. I feel like there's two types of people in the world, the ones that add lots of adhesive and the ones that don't. I tend to not add a ton of adhesive, but if I'm adhering down something like this with a lot of texture, I definitely am going to want to go a little heavier per se. Okay. So I love mint macaron. It's like a bluey green, more of like a mint, I guess. Hello. That describes it perfectly. But just a really, really pretty color. I think it's a great complementary color. And especially if I'm using like I usually don't do oranges. Usually orange is like pumpkin and fall. So I like to kind of tone down the orange with the mint macaron. Okay, next, I already went ahead. Okay, phew, I thought that was the wrong size for a second. And I used the stitched nested labels dies. And I cut out a piece of a label out of Whisper White paper, cardstock, using this guy here. He is the one that measures, he's a little over 4 inches in length. Okay. Now, the Celebration Tidings stamp set that I'm going to use does come with their own dies that coordinate, and they fit these designs in the stamp set beautifully. But I also wanted to show you that these designs work beautifully with the nested dies. So it's just a great, I mean, the way they kind of like encapsulate them and hone them in as opposed to like a straight up rectangle or an oval. I think the nested dies are a great option when you're using the Celebration Tidings as well. So since I'm talking about it, let me show you. This is the Celebration Tidings stamp set. And this is like, let's see here, Christmas, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving or Halloween, and then you have like a straight up Halloween one with the spiders and the webs. So at least a minimum of 4 holidays, but then you have like this generic ones that you could definitely use for other holidays, and this just for you down here is pretty versatile as well. So I love when I can get a lot of bang for my buck, and this is definitely one of those stamp sets. It covers a variety of holidays, the end of the year holidays, but also just like your Valentine's Day, everyday stamping. You could definitely, the Always Grateful. I mean, we think of that about this time of the year, Thanksgiving and the fall, but Always Grateful is just a great sentiment to cover, you know, any thank you cards all year round, honestly. Okay, I've gone ahead and already put on blocks the pumpkin image as well as the bottom pumpkin image. Now, these are kind of meant to work together, but you don't have to, you know, use them together, these here. You know, you could certainly do a top of a pumpkin and then have, instead of this being the frame, you could have another pumpkin on the bottom. That would certainly work. So lots of flexibility in how you can use these different images. You could use them together or not. I'm going to start with the pumpkin, and I'm going to ink him up in the Memento Black ink. Double feature today. Hey, Susan, how you doing? Thanks for joining me. And I'm going to adhere him. No, I'm not going to adhere him. I'm going to stamp him at the top of my nested label here. Now, here's the thing. If this doesn't work, I have my die out and another piece of Whisper White cardstock in case I have an oops and have to fix it. So that's the top. Now I'm going to do the bottom. I love how these work together, or you can certainly use them separately. This one here doesn't scream fall or pumpkin. The bottom stamp that I'm about to stamp, it just has leaves on it. So you could easily do this one at the top and bottom and make it work for any occasion, any sentiment, any holiday, anything really. Okay, we're going to call that a winner. Am I straight? I feel like it's a little off, but not tremendously. Should we redo it? I feel like that's going to bother me. I'm going to cut it. See, I knew it. This is why I left my die out. And I was like, I should really just cut another one just in case and have it ready to go. And I thought, no, I'll have everything ready. Let me just cut another one. I'll do another one, and then we'll take the better of the two. We'll see how this one comes out. Hey, Patricia and Chris, thanks so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. I know Wednesdays can be a busy evening, right? They can be maybe have midweek church services or whatever. I know Wednesdays can be busy. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Okay, let's try this one more time, and then we're going to take the better of the two. It's funny, when I did my sample one, it was the bottom one that was crooked for me too. The top one I can get perfect. Well, or at least pretty perfect. So let's try this again. This is my top one. Bloop. You got to make the fun little noises when you stamp. Am I the only one that does that? I don't always say it out loud, but I usually say it in my head like bloop. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try and use my grid paper to help me. I think that will be a game changer if I can get that lined up. Better. Okay, so what I did the second one, and I should have done it the first one, I know better, is I butt the bottom of my die here, my paper, right up to a line, any line on my grid paper. And then, where is it? When I went to stamp this, I kind of lined this side up with this line and this side up with this line so that I knew I was more or less getting a straight stamp. I hope that makes sense. Okay, now we're going to do some coloring. Not a lot, so I didn't do any of it ahead of time. I figured this will go fast enough. And look at these colors together. I love them. They're kind of earthy and that pop of mint. I think it's just really pretty, this color combination. Pumpkin pie Stampin' Blends, crumb cake Stampin' Blends, and the mint macaron Stampin' Blends. Sorry, I have to pull out my card to just make sure I'm coloring it the way I did in my samples. First, I'm going to color the pumpkin. I think I'm going to use the brush end. So Stampin' Blends markers, I talk about them a lot because I'm a huge fan. Each color that we have comes in two colors, a dark version and a light version. And then both of them they both have a brush end and then a pointy end. So I'm going to start with the brush end. Hi, Rena. How you doing tonight? I hope everyone's doing well. Is everybody ready for Halloween on Saturday? Have you bought all your candy and what you're going to hand out? Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're taking more precautions and maybe you're not. But my family and I will be going out. For sure. My kids are looking forward to it. We go out every year with friends of ours and they're looking forward to it. Especially with it being a Saturday and no school the next day, we can, stay out a little bit later and not feel like we have to rush in. So, and we get an extra hour of sleep. How fun is that? I'm doing well. Thank you. Okay, so I just came in with the dark pumpkin pie to give some lowlights, and then I'm going to kind of blend the ink that I put down using my light. Again, if you've watched my videos before, you know how I tend to color. Everybody does it differently. Some people start with the dark and then they just add the light. Whatever you find works for you is what you should do. There's really it's artsy, right? So whatever works for you is what you should do. This is my light crumb cake, and for this one I'm definitely using more the fine tip end. These little wispies that are hanging out that I'm coloring are pretty small. So if you're going to use the brush end, you have to go really slow. But did I color this? I colored that one in that color. And then my little stem. Sorry, I'm looking at my sample because I want to color it the same and I don't necessarily remember what I colored what. Okay, done. These little ones. And then don't forget these ones on the bottom. Doop, boop, 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 boop. This one too. Now, if I wanted to come back with the dark one, I'm just going to take the super fine end and literally almost like dot my leaves. Now, not literally dot, but almost like a little check mark. I'm not really coloring. I'm just adding the littlest bit of contrast because these things are so tiny. It doesn't take a lot before they're all filled up. You're taking your son trick-or-treating. Oh, you also made goodie bags to leave out if anyone comes to our house. You're so good, Rena. That's so fun. We do go trick-or-treating, but I'm like I guess, well, first of all, we live in an older neighborhood, so very, very few people come trick-or-treating. We just have a young family to the right of us here, and that's it. That's the only young kids in the neighborhood here, so we don't leave any candy out. We figure that they, like us, go somewhere else because there's no one, even like, my neighbors don't really turn their lights on. I think the neighborhood has just learned over the years that nobody comes, so why bother buying the candy? So we go to my friend's neighborhood and trick-or-treat in her neighborhood. This year I have my oldest is going to be an inmate. That's what she wanted to be. Okay, whatever. Inmate, fine. And my son is going to be Perry the Platypus. If you're not familiar with Phineas and Ferb, the TV show, the kids show, he insisted. And my youngest, what is she going to be? Oh, she's going to be a Day of the Dead girl. So I have to get my makeup skills on and get her face all painted. And we made the veil and with the flowers and everything the other day. So, okay. So this is my final product. Again, pumpkin pie, mint macaron, crumb cake, and the rest, like the base of it was stamped in the memento black. Your son is the same way. Oh, now we got to do the sentiment. Here's the thing. And I probably should have done this first, okay? Don't be like Jamie. Do as I say, not as I do. Is before you start coloring, I would suggest you stamp the sentiment. Because if you mess up the sentiment, you haven't invested time in coloring and going to have to do it all over again. So I'm going to take my time because I don't want to mess up. And I'm going to butt my paper right up to the grid paper, which is naturally going to get my eye seeing the lines. And hopefully, if not, we're going to have to figure out a plan B because, I mean, it wasn't a ton of coloring. I could easily just do the other one, but okay, phew. I was a little nervous there. So that's my final product. I love the Always Grateful. It's a beautiful font that they use, beautiful script. I just love thank you cards. They're my favorite. Okay. And then behind this beautiful sentiment, I guess it's kind of a large sentiment. I have a little piece of a banner kind of poking through. Again, orange isn't necessarily, oh, excuse me, I'm going to have to get a drink of water. Orange isn't necessarily my favorite color, so I just kind of wanted it sort of peeking through like, hey, it's fall, and I acknowledge it's fall, but I don't really love orange. So this little piece here is a 1/2 inch, so really narrow, 1/2 inch by 4 1/4, I believe. Yeah, 4 1/4. And all I'm going to do is just snip the ends. And when I do my banners, I like a shallow banner. Some people like really deep banners, but I kind of like shallow ones. So what I do is I do a snip up the middle. Boop. See, am I the only one that does like little sound noises in their head when they do this? And then I come from one side and I cut into that middle piece that was just cut, flip it over, and I do the same thing. I come from the corner, I catch the middle, and snip. Whoops. Hopefully all the way. Okay. And again, I like a more narrow banner. If you wanted a deeper one, you just cut deeper into the cardstock. That's all. So cut into middle, then come from one angle and in, then the other side and in. And then if it doesn't come off, you should be able to just kind of pull. And then I flatten it with my nail. Usually, I know that's really technical. I flatten it with my nail. Orange rates up there with yellow for me. Yes, me too, Karen. Definitely. Orange is completely like a seasonal color I use. I really, really don't use it any other time of the year. I'm trying to think. Sunflowers, I'll use it. Pumpkins, of course. Halloween. Other than that, I usually don't take my orange out. It does not get much loving during the regular year. Okay, so I just put a little bit of adhesive there, and I'm gonna catch it kind of on an angle. And that's what we're left with. Okay, now this is what I did. I mean, I have this, and it's a simpler card than maybe I normally do on a Wednesday night. I do have these, what are these? Square vellum doils. I was like, should I add one of those? Although you really hardly see it. But it's there. I'm like, I could add one of those. You really don't see it, especially with the embossed background. I don't know. I didn't have any other ideas. Does anybody have any ideas? I was going to add that. And then I did add a couple of these, what are they called? Artistry Blooms adhesive back sequins. So I figured I'd add those. But other than that, it's a pretty simple card. And of course, I can't find, there it is, my dimensionals for anything. I did adhere these down with dimensionals because, hello, of course, I have to. So while I have you here, just a couple things to keep in mind. Our designer series paper sale is going on through Saturday. Okay, Saturday is the last day. 15% off 15 different designer series papers in the annual and the mini catalog right now. And when you place an order of $50 or more, and it includes at least one pack of designer series paper, oh, you would add the doily. A muted layer is always good. I already glued it down. I said, should I do this? And then I glued it down. So designer series paper sale ends Saturday. Along with it, if your order is over 50 and you have at least one pack of designer series paper in there, I'm giving away a free pack of cardstock. So solid cardstock, you pick which one you want and I'll throw it in for free. I pretty like it too. Well, listen, I didn't really push down, so I was able to pull them up. I'll add it. You really don't see it, but it's another layer. I feel like it's missing a little something. Although I do like my simple cards. If you follow my blog and kind of my design aesthetic, because I tend to go more on the simpler side than on the all like blinged out side. No matter how much I try, I just make simple cards. I do. I've tried so hard over the years to add little details and whatever. And sometimes I do. And other times I'm like, I just really like it simple. So plus time is always kind of of the essence. So simpler cards tend to be quicker cards. I am going to add a couple of these. Look, I have hardly any left of this color. Artistry Blooms adhesive back sequins. Love that they already have the adhesive on the back. And gosh, it doesn't say on here what color this is. Well, it's an orange. I have a feeling it's color. No, I don't think that's right. I'd have to look. Hold on. When I'm done here, I'll look to see what color exactly this is. There's a couple different colors in the pack. I know like one's like rich raspberry, kind of bright colors really. Whoops. So we're going to add those there. And I don't know, I was looking to see, we don't have an orange ribbon or anything like that. So I didn't add a ribbon. So I think we're just going to leave it simple. That's okay, right? I like it. I like it simple. So those are my cards. If you've been watching and you have yet to leave a comment, quickly do so. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to draw a name and you can win the card that I made tonight, and make sure you send it out to someone. I always say it. We don't hoard our cards. You have to mail it. Oh, I just realized my catalog's upstairs. Oh, well. I don't know. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All the love. So be sure to leave a comment. Check out the designer series paper sale. It's over on Saturday. So be sure not to miss out on the 15% off, as well as my free pack of cardstock. That's a great deal. And then in November, I have a couple of other bonuses and fun things going on as well. So check out my blog. All the details are at the bottom of each of my posts. Thank you everyone so much for watching tonight. I appreciate it. And I will see you back next week. Take care, everyone.